This conference will now be recorded.
Hello all, welcome to my YouTube channel again. In this session, I'm going to telling about AWS account and some settings of that AWS account. When you create an AWS account, that account will be calling as root user. That means how it's gonna be look like you are entering the credentials like username, not username. It could be like email, stamp, and password.
This conference will now be recorded.
That means when you are opening an website, it will be looks like, suppose you open facebook.com. Here how it's showing like username, email address or phone number or password. The same way when you log into that AWS website, it's gonna be asked like the credentials, email system or password. That means you have created like .com and some password. AWS. Like this you have entered the password. So that's how it's gonna be look like. I created from the website. If I show here for creating AWS Amazon.console.com, gonna be asked like this. You can create an AWS account. I have already created my account. So this is my account homepage. And now next thing is like AWS has recommended the best practice will be calling us never ever never ever use the root user for your daily activities. So in this video, I'm gonna show some lab over here. What does this sentence meaning will then represents like you should have to create some user account for your admin or daily usage. I can say for those activities you should have to be used this lab which I'm going to show you. I'll be creating some user account for daily and admin usage, and one more lab it's gonna be like billing permission will not be shown to track your daily or monthly usage. Account user who will be creating now. So just dive into this. Like I will be creating some of the user for my daily purpose. So this is how it's gonna be look like. Let me open a new tab. So this is how the place will be looks like. I didn't have any recently visited services, so that's how it's showing. Explore one of the most commonly used visited database services. These are IAM, EC2, S3, ODS, Lambda. These are all the services which been used by peoples. So let me try to create an user. So you can see here, like if you wanted to explore when you created an AWS account, this is how the home page will be looks like. If you click on actions, you can add your widgets, can reset your default layout if you're not understandable. I mean, we don't want to see like this kind of things. So if you want to revert to previous console, like the different things will be shown. So let me go back to previous console. This is how it will be looks like. Now I wanted to move as a new console. So if I click on switch now, it will redirect to the new console. This is what it will look like. Okay, let me close this. And then you can see here you can track your cost and usage, AWS health, open issues, schedule. Some of the notifications will be there. So for this account, I must have to create an IAM user. This is my root user, but I will not use for these daily purposes. You can see here, by defaultly, you can see number of regions over here. In our next upcoming sessions, you will be seeing this. So when you create an account, your default region will be like in US East 1. That means from North Virginia, US East. Most of the services will be first started over here and then it will goes on. I am nearer to India. I can use Asia specific for my development activities or I can use that. Suppose if I are working as an organization like HCL or TCS, Wipro, whatever kind of maybe. Like for them, according to their business client usage purposes, they will be selecting a different region for them. So for here, as of now, I will leave it as this default. Our lab activity is gonna be, I wanted to create a new user for my daily activities. If I type IAM, it will show here in the search index, or otherwise if I click on here, let me close this. And if I click on recent services, if I have registered some of the things of the services, it will show here. You can see more than number of compute services, cost management, blockchain, business applications. So many things are there. Under this, if you see security, identity and compliance, if you click on that, you can see here so how much services are there. For creating user IAM, I have typed it for you can see manage access to AWS resources. So that means I need to click on security, identity and compliance in this section. I have to click on IAM. So let me click on this. So it will redirect to that this thing. This is how IAM dashboard looks like. What is meant by IAM? It's like the service is IAM. It's for using identity access management. This is what I stands for identity, A stands for access, M stands for management. If you're gonna go for Azure, if you wanna go for Google Cloud, the same thing will be there, but then that services in those clouds, they will be using some different terminologies over there. But yeah, you're seeing for this AWS video, AWS session, like in AWS we'll be calling as identity access and management. So far,
This conference will now be recorded.
if you wanted to know about IAM, like you can see, some of the things will be tutorials will be shown over here. IAM documentation. If I click on this, it will redirect to that. You can see this identity and access management is a web service that helps you securely control access to AWS resources. You use IAM to control who is going to be authenticated, signed in, and authorized. Someone has permission to use the AWS resources. When you first create an AWS account, you being with a single sign-in identity that has to complete access to all AWS services and resources in the account. This is what the data IAM stands for. Like you can see there are a number of best practices in this documentation. You can read it. If you have time, you can read it. But I'm going to tell this to you. They have plenty of documentation which you can easily understand some of the things by reading the documentation itself. Or if you want to see tutorials, getting started, can see this is how I'm going to show this to you, creating an IAM admin user and user group like these things we are going to see now. Identities, access management, security. This is how the documentation will be looks like. Let's go back to our portal. You can see here for root user. Let me just some diagram over here. Suppose this is the AWS console. Will be looks like. Now you are gonna enter this into this website by using username and password. And what AWS is recommending is after entering the password, there is one more layer of security which we'll be calling it as MFA. What does this mean? It is called as multi-factor authentication. It should be enabled as soon as must. What does it mean? Let me just go back to Google. MFA. It stands for multi-factor authentication. Is to use it to ensure that digital users who are they say they are requiring that to provide at least two pieces of evidence to prove their identity. It's just an identity to prove security. Like while you're entering your credentials for using like ICICI Bank, like HDFC Bank, while you're entering them in the net banking or internet banking, you will be receiving otherwise if you are doing some transaction, definitely they are going to ask OTP, which will be registered with your account mobile number. You're releasing some OTP. It's the same kind of mechanism. If you can see in the images, you can see how does it look like. Let me go back. Let me see this image. After entering to your system password, the multi-factor authentication can be your access card, your fingerprint, or your mobile phone. You can use this kind of mechanism. According to NIST, they have defined this diagram. So there are multiple definitions out there for understanding MFA. So we're gonna add MFA for my account. This is my new account, so that's why I'm gonna add MFA. For that reason, it's showing us like this. If I click on this, add MFA for your root user,
This conference will now be recorded.
you can see when I click on this add MFA, it's been redirected to this. So if you want, you can change the password over here, or otherwise we adding MFA. Access keys and secret keys, I'll be telling this later. CloudFront, some certificates, or account identifiers. So we're gonna concentrate on only MFA. I'm activating MFA. Activating MFA can be done in three ways. Virtual MFA device, the authenticator app should be installed on your mobile device or computer. You can use USB drives or some other devices. So we're gonna use this for virtual MFA device. I have installed multi-factor device like authenticator app. If you want to know about more about that, if you click on this control click on button, it will gonna see multi-factor authentication documentation. How it's gonna be work like. Just now I was virtual MFA applications. This is one I was interested. Applications for your smartphone that can be installed from the application store that is specific to your phone type. You can see the table over here. If you are using Android, you can use ATI, Duo Mobile, LastPass Authenticator, Microsoft Authenticator, Google Authenticator, Semantic VIP. I'm having LastPass Authenticator and Microsoft Authenticator, Google Authenticator. You can use any of this. I can recommend Google Authenticator or Microsoft, any of these three one. It's gonna be simple. I'm gonna use LastPass Authenticator. So I've installed on my system. If you click on this LastPass Authenticator, this is how in your Android mobile folder, this is how it looks like. You can see here, when you choose this application, it will be showing like that. You can see and download that. So now I'm gonna adding virtual MFA and click on continue. You can see if I click on show QR code, then it will show some of the code over here, scan code. You can see here. What I'm gonna do is now I'm gonna use Authenticator my app. I'm clicking on. I just took a snap of that. So I need to add MFA over here. 350631. So that and we have to enter double time. Let me close this. Double 87668. Like that, we need to assign MFA. I have assigned that. Let me close. If you wanted to manage again, like you have lost your device, you can click on again, choose an action to perform MFA device. This will no longer required, or you can resync. If you want, you can remove. That's what they are expecting. For removing, you must have to sign in again. Okay, because let me do this for you. Now, I'm gonna cancel this. I've already logged into it. So I'm gonna add. Oh, sorry, I clicked on the route. Yeah, let me click on this. Now I'm gonna enter like root user. I have saved my credentials in the browser, but this is not gonna be recommended. I'm gonna be little bit lazy. I have to enter these characters and click on submit and password and sign in. Now you can see now the MFA is asking because we have already signed in. So I'm gonna enter MFA. After publishing this video, I'm gonna removing my MFA and again I will create the real MFA over here on this my account. So this is how it will be looks like. So if I go on to IAM, I'm redirected to the console. You can see here now the root user has MFA. If I showcase this here, if I refresh like this, you can see here root user has MFA. Okay, now the MFA is added. I'm gonna stick with incognito for this lab activity due to some reasons. Now what I'm gonna do is I wanted to create a user. So let me create the user. The naming convention will show differently over here if you click on user. So let me go back to dashboard and you can see you have 0 users, 2 roles. When you are creating your AWS account, by defaultly, you are going to be getting 2 roles over there. When it comes to policies, identity providers, IR user groups, users, we will having a separate session for understanding this. And you can see my account ID. If I wanted to create some naming convention, I can create that over here. If I give this link to anyone, they can able to access my account. So if gonna use this like this is my account ID. They can enter username and password like that. Let me just create the user. Let me close release load. Again, I have to enter. Okay, let it be like this. I will close this one. Let's stick on with this one because I created some differently. Let me go back to the users. You're going out by seeing the name as add users. If you click on this, it will redirect to the page of adding users. So for my admin activities, I'm going to adding my name like Madan. I wanted to create other user like this. I can add other user, other user like this. I can add. I can give what I'm going to access is called as AWS console management console access. This is console. So let me take this one. I'm gonna reviewing these additional users which I had mentioned. Let me stick with this model. So it's gonna be created auto-generated password. Let it stick be like that. User required the password reset. Yeah, I'm gonna need this. Let me click on next permissions. Okay, okay. What I will do is first let me create this. Okay, now that I will add some permission. These things you can understand next sessions. Review. As of now, IAM is a change password. Why it's been showing over here? In the first details, you can see that if I click on this user required password reset, that is what it's showing in the fourth step. Managed policy. This is we will understand by next sessions. Let me create the user. You can see the username will be like this. If I click on download CSV, if I open this, you can see here, this is how will be look like. Username, this is what it will be looks like. So for as of now, we don't have any access key and secret access key. This is how organizations will be creating the users. Okay, so this is going to be username. So what I'm going to do is let me click on incognito window. Let me do this, or otherwise I need to paste this link. Let me gonna copy this and enter. You can see here, this is my account ID. Let me enter my username. This is my password. Signed in. And see, paste it. I'm gonna type my root user password. Let me try a different password. So I'm confirming the password change. You can see, let me click on this. I don't want the whole console. You can see for me also defaultly redirect to that default region US East 1. So for this account, I'm the username. That is what it's showing like. When it comes to this page, it's showing your root username. Okay. When it comes to here, this is what it's showing like. You are part of this user. Like someone will be entering the name called as like mm, working for TCS. It's gonna be like TCS.com, rate of HCL.com, gmail.com, Facebook. com or hotmail.com. This is what it looks like when you log into that any of the websites. I can say you can see I have created changed the password. So if I wanted to explore any of the services, let me click on this IAM. You will see you do not have permission to require to perform this operation. Ask your administrator to add permissions because we didn't provide anything to this user. We just given an authentication, not an authorization. He will not perform anything. We created an user called as, let me remove this, some of your account ID, like the user is being created. He just enter at the console by defaultly like an authentication is passed, not able to create the resources. That means if he wanted to add any of the user, you can see that you don't have any permission to perform this operation. That means my root user has to provide these IAM user permissions, administrator permissions are required. So let's be add to permission for my user. Let me close this. Now you can see if I go to dashboard, I have created one user. Previously it was showing like only 0 user. Now I added one user. Let me click on that. It will show. When I click on the dashboard, it's been redirecting to the user section. 4 minutes ago I was created. Password changed 3 minutes ago. How much activity is going to be done? Like you created now at this month of March, I was created this, but you wanted to check after at the end of the this year, December, you will see how much activity you have used. This is what it was showing like. Let me click on this username. Let me add some permission. Add a user to a group, copy permissions from existing user, attach existing policies. I'm gonna fix this name one. I will be providing administrator access. Type admin. You can see so many things will be shown. So by defaultly, I'm gonna selecting this review, add permissions. Administrator access has been provided for this user. If we refresh the page, now he can able to see that the dashboard previously it shown some of the things like that. You can see your root user has MFA, but for this user it doesn't have any MFA. And first lab is over. Now second lab is billing permission will not be shown over as an account user. As you can see in this, I have some permission. Let me show it in a practical way. Mm, Billing dashboard. Click on that. It will show here what are the things you have done. Click on bills. For today only I have created, so that's why it's showing like this. Okay. Now I am logged into the root user. That's why it's showing. If I go to this user, Madan user, if I wanted to see billing dashboard, I'm not able to see that. because this is the activity. This should be enabled by root user. Then only you can able to see this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna adding some permission for this user by scrolling down. When you click on billing home account, like something like that, it will show here. Here some things are there, but I don't want to see that. When you click on cost management, cost explorer, some settings will be there. Some of the things are there. So that's why I'm not showing that. Granting access to your billing information on tools. When you click on it, it will show some documentation. Okay, let me click on edit. You can see the activate IAM access setting does not all control access to. We are giving them permission to see the billing plans and all the stuff. So that is what we are clicking on activate IAM access. Let me click on update. Who wanna be administrator for them only able to see this kind of thing. Okay, let me just refresh the page. Now you can see I'm able to see that. I can see monthly bills. I can track order and invoices. Okay, cost explorer, budget, billing preferences. Okay, credits. If you have any credits, means you can use that. Orders and invoices, like that you can add. So that's all for this lab. Like we have entered that. I have shown MFA for things in this lab. For my root user also, I mean for this IAM user also, I'm gonna add MFA for my security reasons. I have already MFA, but I'm gonna removing this MFA because I have shown my QR code over here. So that's the reason I'm removing my MFA and I will add new MFA for my security reasons. So that's all for this video. In upcoming sessions, we will gonna be seeing most of the AWS labs and practical and some some theory of each and every service AWS services. So that's all for this video, guys. I hope you like it. If you wanted to, I mean, you wanted to see as an IAM user, you wanted to see billing information. This is how it will be going to be works like. So that's all for this session. Thank you.